All right, let's talk about procrastination. But, not in the usual way. Forget all the productivity hacks and the just do it advice. Today, we're going to look at procrastination not as some personal failure we need to crush, but as a seriously misunderstood part of ourselves that's actually trying to tell us something really important.
I mean, you know that feeling, right? That sense of dread when you look at your list, that constant nagging battle inside your own head between what you know you should be doing and, well, literally anything else. It's just exhausting. It feels like a fight, and most of the time, it feels like we're losing.
And when we lose that fight, what's the first thing we do? We tell ourselves a story. And it almost always sounds like this, doesn't it? I'm just lazy. I have no discipline. It's this narrative of shame and self-criticism. We've convinced ourselves it's a character flaw, some fundamental weakness in who we are.
But hang on a second. What if that whole story, the one based on blame and shame, isn't just wrong? What if it's the very thing that's keeping you stuck? What if the problem isn't your lack of discipline at all, but your entire approach to the problem?
Yeah, that way of thinking is what leads us straight into what you could call the procrastination trap. And the trap is believing that the only solution is to just push harder, to use more willpower, more force. But as I'm sure many of us know, that strategy almost always backfires. It just leads to more resistance, more burnout, and, yep, more shame. And this is the core idea that changes absolutely everything. Procrastination doesn't mean you're broken. It's a message, it's a signal, it's your own system trying to talk to you. The real question is, are you actually listening?
So what's the signal about? Well, it's coming straight from your nervous system. Deep down, procrastination is basically a subconscious strategy your body is using to try and meet a need that you haven't been paying attention to. And that signal, that message, is almost always about some kind of inner conflict between two competing, totally legitimate needs. Maybe one part of you is just screaming for rest, while another part is pushing for that next achievement. Or maybe your need for safety is clashing with the fear of being exposed when you put your work out there. It's this internal tug of war.
Thinking about it this way reframes the whole thing. Instead of seeing procrastination as self-sabotage, what if you saw it as a kind of loyalty? Your system is being loyal to a deep ignored need, like the need for a break or the need for control, and it's hitting the brakes to protect you.
Okay, so if procrastination is a message, how do we get good at decoding it? How do we read the signals? Well, that brings us to the next part, a really practical way to start listening to what your resistance is actually trying to tell you. Here's a super simple 4-step framework. It's actually based on a practice called nonviolent communication, which is all about compassionate connection. So first, you just observe what's happening, just the facts. Second, you connect with the feeling underneath it all. Third, you get curious about the unmet need that's driving that feeling. And finally, you make a clear request to yourself to help meet that need. Let's just zoom in on that first step because honestly, it is a total game changer. Just look at the difference here. The story, the judgment is I'm useless, but the observation, the simple fact is just I haven't started the report. See? One is a dead-end street of shame. The other is a neutral, open starting point for curiosity. And that's the whole magic of it. By just dropping the story and sticking to the facts, you immediately step out of that shame spiral. Because you can't be curious and judgmental at the exact same time. This simple shift gives you the mental space to ask, I wonder why I haven't started that report yet. So once you've listened, the next step is to act, but not in the old way. This is about moving from that place of inner conflict and brute force to a place of alignment and flow. It's a completely different way of engaging with your work and, really, with yourself. You know the old way. It's all about self-will, right? That grit your teeth and push through mentality. The new way is about wise action. It's about pausing and asking a much smarter, more compassionate question. Okay, given what I'm feeling and what I need, what's the wiser thing I can ask of myself right now? And here is the absolute foundational principle for this new approach. Think about it. You can't steer a car that's skidding on ice. First, you have to get traction. It's the same with us. You have to soothe the fear or the anxiety before you can apply discipline. Regulation, calming your nervous system, has to come first. So how do you actually do that in the moment? Here's a little ritual you can use. First, just pause. Seriously, step away from the screen. Second, name the feeling. Okay, I'm feeling totally overwhelmed. Third, guess the need. I think I need some clarity. Fourth, make one tiny, ridiculously small request. Can I just open the document? That's it. And fifth, give yourself permission to start messy. Begin imperfectly.
What you get from this is this amazing feeling of agency, but without the aggression. You start to feel in control of your choices again, but without that horrible internal warfare we talked about at the beginning. You're leading yourself with kindness, not yelling at yourself with commands. And it is so important to realize that this whole approach isn't just about checking more boxes on your to-do list. The real goal here is something much, much deeper than just being more productive. The transformation is really profound. That shame, which is the fuel for procrastination, it gets replaced with genuine curiosity about yourself. That brute force self-will gets replaced with aligned action that actually feels good. And that frantic, panicked sense of urgency gets replaced by a real connection to the meaning behind what you're doing.
And this brings us to what might be the most powerful idea of all. We've always been told the cure for procrastination is more discipline, but what if that's completely wrong? What if the true opposite of procrastination is a state of loving engagement with your work, with your life, and most importantly, with yourself? Ultimately, this whole approach is really an act of rebellion. It's a rebellion against a culture that tells us we should all operate like efficient machines. It's about remembering that you are a human being with real needs and real emotions. It's about honoring that humanity instead of trying to optimize it away. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you feel yourself avoiding something, putting it off, instead of launching into that old, tired story of shame, just pause, get curious, and ask yourself with genuine kindness, what is this trying to tell me? The answer might just change everything.